welcome everybody to tonight's Plumes of Hazard. I'm MassBlast09, and there's one co-host and not another co-host.
Hey, there he is. He's coming.
There's Fubaka.
He's got his headphones are in. Hey, he's there.
I don't know what he's doing, but there's Fubaka. I'm MassBlast09, and that's the Angstful Vapor. Galanta farts.
I was getting water.
And I'll be right back.
And I'll be right back. He just bounces. So Massey had an emergency.
I can keep bouncing.
Oh.
Yeah, ice cream is fucking melting. Okay, I gotta be back.
So Massey.
The polar ice cap is melting.
Okay.
I don't know what he's doing.
Don't stop him now. He's having such a good time.
The Massey, right before we went live, had an emergency ice cream meeting, which he had to go take care of. But he was able to run the intro, which we really appreciate, and he'll be back. Toot sweet, I'm sure. Okay. I'm trying to get out of work mode. I'm trying to disengage, shift into neutral for a sec. That's better. That is better.
Oh, your idling motorcycle.
I miss my bike. My bike's been sitting in my garage for like, I bet it's been 18 months since I started it. Maybe a little more. Maybe more than that.
Yeah, I bet it sounds America as fuck when you rev it up.
Oh, dude. You know it do. So my bike is well, I'm turning off my ringer. Who's getting Facebook messages. So I bought my bike the first year that model came out. And I didn't go Harley because they were too slow. I like Harleys. They're great, but none of them had like big enough displacement engines to haul my ass around. So when Honda put out the 1800 V-twin, I was like, oh, I mean, every cylinder is the size of a large coffee can, right? I mean, they're just, it was enormous and it was quick and it sounded really nice even when you revved it way up. So I bought it, and like just a few months later, I bought some pipes for it. What did I end up putting on there? Vance and Hines, I think. But man, you want to talk about noise? Holy crap! It sounds so good down low. So if you ever been on a Harley, you know that there's this blah 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 blah, right? And it always sounds like it's about to stall out.
I get to hear my neighbor's Harley the same time every morning.
Yeah. And they've got a great sound. The thing that I don't like about it is it always sounds like they're about to stall, like always. Unless you've got, well, the V-twins anyway, not the some of the other models. But anyway, mine is ridiculous. It sounds fantastic. I love my pipes. And the best part about them is the way they've got the engine running is when you get up to speed in whatever gear you're in, and your throttle kind of evens out, right? You start to cruise. The noise just goes away. It's just, I mean, it sounds like a race car almost. But when it's down low, it's choppy and loud and setting off car alarms. It's fantastic. Love it. My neighbors don't love it.
I bet. I don't like my neighbor's pipes. It's fucking 5:30 in the morning, dude.
Oh, that's rough, man. Dude, you can't start a bike like that at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's lame.
And especially because the way my block. So I'm on the corner here, right? And here's the intersecting road. They're here, but my block goes like this. So the way the sound travels, like, because he goes down on my block to go to work, I'm assuming, I hear that motherfucker the whole way down because the sound just pipes right back.
I always tried to, when I started up, when I did have to go commute to work in the morning when I would ride, I always tried to start it and keep it their RPM as low as I could before I left until I got on the road, because it is annoying. Your neighbor's out there laying pipe, apparently noisily as well.
Remember the motorcycle gang episode of South Park? You ever see it?
No, I don't think so.
It's a pretty fantastic episode. Those are the noises they're making.
That's true, Festy. They do have they have their degrees off a little bit, and they did that for a lot of reasons, but some of it was for sound. But the other thing that they have figured out water cooling, which was nice to see. They did figure that out with what was it, the V-Rod, I think. They put out a liquid cool engine. That's nice. It's good for places like Texas where it gets a little warm on occasion. That's nice.
You don't say.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, can it be loud pipes save lives? I am of the similar opinion. I agree. Not only do I like it, I do feel like it helps. I do feel like it helps. Now, there are people that argue with that, right? There are people that are just like, they're just noisy for the sake of being noisy, and you can't hear them when your windows are up and your radio's on and whatever. Like, yes, you can.
Yeah, try a Sunday at NYC during the summer.
Yeah.
The motorcycle groups, they can be a bit much.
Yeah,
especially on the highway with them.
Well, that I will agree with. On the highway, yeah, you can't hear me coming from if you're in front of me, especially with the windows up and stuff on the highway. No, you can't hear me. That's one of the reasons why you got to be really careful on the highway when you're on a bike.
If you're on people who've driven on the Cross Bronx know that any given Sunday during the summer can be like a Rough Riders video or a DMX video. So, yeah, it gets
right. All the accountants getting out and riding their bikes on occasion. Fair weather riders.
No, I think it's just everyone is on their stuff during. I mean, they ride during the winter too. It's just not as frequent, but it's like I'm talking. You'll have groups of 50 to 100 people,
mm-hmm.
and they're ATVs too. So everyone's just comes past you.
Festy, how do you guys figure sound changes direction? It doesn't. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't work if you're going fast enough. You can't hear it, but if you're not going terribly fast, dude, that sound bounces everywhere, including forward, because I'm not going the speed of sound. So it does go all over the place.
Eat some insects.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I miss the bugs in the teeth. I miss the whole nine. And at this point, it's been sitting for long enough. I feel like I need to get it towed to get it maintenance, because right before I stopped riding for a variety of reasons, right before I stopped riding, it was up for a pretty major servicing, like a major servicing, the first one that you have to do, and I didn't do it, and now it's been sitting. I'm like, God bless. I feel like it. I need to have it in there and get it overhauled and stuff. It's annoying.
Meh.
It is annoying because it's just money out, right? It's just money out, and plus I've got that new thing. I got that thing I was talking about earlier that I needed to buy, which I guess we could talk about. It seems relatively relevant. We've got tech time. We can talk about tools.
Oh, yeah. I know we have tech time.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that were sitting, I finally got this thing up and running again.
Yeah.
Built it. I'm vaping it. Good.
It's good.
K-Fun sound as fuck, though.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned.
What are you running that on now that didn't your SX Mini die? I thought it discharged the battery or something.
It did that weird thing. I don't think I talked about it last week, but
sorry, I just gave away your news then.
No, it's fine. But I can mention it even before we talk about what we're vaping. But it was 2 weekends ago. I was getting up to go to work, and usually if my battery is on the verge of being charged, I'll leave it in my mod. I'm like, all right, I'll have getting ready toots in the morning.
Sure.
But I wake up and my mod isn't turning on, and I thought it might have bricked. But it was not the case. I'd left the battery in my SX Mini as a VTC 5A with about 3.4, 3.5 worth of charge. And I could vape it down to 3.3-ish. So it discharged my battery overnight to 2.7-ish, 2.8. It read 2.3 on the charger at first, but then it jumped up to 2.8.
Mm-hmm.
I have a primitive charger. But, so that was weird. It hasn't done it since. So it makes me wonder what could have happened. Why did it discharge idly? So, yeah, nothing's happened since. I cleaned out the tube and shit on my SX Mini and the cap and whatnot. So, like, that'll make a difference. So, yeah, that was some weird shit.
That is some weird shit. Tweezers again? No, not tweezers again. Let's see if I missed anything in chat. What are you running build wise since you've got a regulated mod over there? What are you running the Narco on?
I threw the 27 in there parallel. I didn't like the 25 gauge build I had in there prior. I'm just used to the. I run it at 28 watts. Good.
Yeah.
Point. I think I do like an extra half wrap versus what you do. I also do 3 millimeters, so I'm running at 0.52, which means I get a good battery curve on this.
Sure. I run a 3 mil.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you told me to run 2.5 at one point.
Well, I have before. My normal build though is a 3, 4, 5, 4, 5 wrap is 0.4, depending on how long the legs are to the terminals. It'll be between 0.38 and 0.41 or so.
I guess I'm doing that extra half wrap because I'm at 0.52.
Yeah, it must be at least another wrap. Must be a 5.6 or something.
Might be. Because I did have to adjust my legs because I forgot I was building on a Narco. Oh, my juice is very low.
Apparently, we're being too chill right now. William just said to slam a monster. Fine. All right. Good. I'm running. My Gloom is back, and as I said last week, this whole last week I've actually been running it with a Narda, with a DA, which I haven't run in a minute. It's been a while since I ran a Narda. And the reason is because I had one on the Bliss as well, and I was doing a little A/B testing for somebody, for something I can't talk about quite yet. So I was.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, you do. I was doing some taste testing, and I need to get back to him actually about that. But now that once I kind of finished that or whatever, yesterday I pulled that out, put my Sia back on there. And of course there's Railcracker in here. And this is the Narca Omen tip. And of course I've been using this. I'm not currently at the moment, although I still have some of that juice left, which is tasty. Narda on top. One of Daon's Cerakoted Eater rings, which I really like on that guy. Mun top Omen tip. And this. So I did spend a little bit of time with the one RDA, which I hadn't spent a lot of time with it yet, thanks to that lovely gentleman right there. I'm going to talk about this a little bit. I have not changed juices, though. I want to, because with as restrictive an airflow as this is, I kind of want to put abolishment in it and see how that go. The way it is right now, it's pretty good, though. Not bad. We'll talk about that in a little bit, though. Masty, what did you vape today? Oh, I didn't vape anything today. I bought my ice cream cone. That was a very accurate representation of Mass Blast 09. Mega Nux, give me your white limelight. Yo, no, because it's not a white limelight. It is a Bliss. So if you can get the name right, I'm not going to give it to you.
The one instance where your ignorance is not bliss.
The one group is a clusterfuck, says Rizcar. I don't doubt it. I think I'm in the group, but I don't ever go. And because I mean, as I said, I didn't actually purchase this one. It was a gift. I never had to interact in there, so I know very little about what goes on in that group. Although, like I said, I've been.
When Flash's big timer badge, it's like, give me a bod. Okay.
Oh, here, just take it.
I'm gonna go sleep. Wake me up. It's ready.
No Venice. Oh yeah, Goulash's talking about the Venice, right? That's the new Haku, which I am looking forward to. I really hope that it's got more restricted flow, because as much as I like my Haku, which I do, I mean I use like a third of the airflow max, and I really hope that the new one is a little more restricted. Russ is the other, yeah.
But yeah, I got.
Russ is the only one outside Steven. I know, and Russ fucking just like dropped the bomb too, right? Like there's like Steven had told me this. Here's the deck. I'm really excited about this thing, you know. And then like 2 days later, Russ goes, "Hey everybody, I've got one of these things." I'm like, dude, he's got a prototype, but he's not supposed to share it yet. And then just yeah.
Well, if he keeps getting one, I would imagine they don't care.
What?
I said I don't imagine they care.
No, Steven wasn't ready to talk about it yet. It was not planned.
Let's talk about decks. Let's talk about top caps.
Baby. We can talk about decks. We can talk about the one. This is one of the few pieces of actual news I've got tonight. We can talk about it. I want you to listen when I pull on this, and it's a little whistly, but it's not too bad. It's got a really restricted draw, but it is a lung hit when it's wide open. The airflow holes are probably maybe a third smaller than the CA, and the Narga is a pretty, relatively restricted draw anyway, which I like. This is even more so, but it's still right there, just at a restricted lung. And the problem is, since it's got two air holes, it doesn't mouth to lung great. Because it's still coming at from both sides. God, I can't even adjust this fucking airflow. I mean, it's real loose for a mouth to lung, even when you just restrict it way down. You can do it, but it's real loose. It's not bad. But one of the things I wanted to say was Ace mentioned last week, and I think I may have mentioned it last week, but Ace from Limelight famousness did say that if I replaced the deck O-ring with a Narda one, then the top cap will come off more easily because he's got one as well. And he's right, it does, but it's still hard to take off. It's not as hard, though, because now with a little bit of purchase, and if it's well lubed up, you can get it out of there. So that's cool. I did want to show you one other thing. And in case you haven't seen it, I might as well just go ahead and show it to you real quick. Show you the airflow. Close-ups. So we do have our little airflow holes, one on that side and one on that side. They are angled. You can see the coil down there, and I could get a light, but I think I did this before. Here's a coil. You can't see it until you tilt it down a little bit, and it's because it's angled down, which is nice. The slots for your terminals are nice and open, so you just slide something in there, and I think you can probably see there's not much room inside of the screw. Which is good because that means you can use whatever kinds of wire that you want. My parallel build went right in there, 27 gauge, and gripped up just fine. So no big deal on that. That's good. But you can see our deck here. It is really tight in there, right? It's real tight. So I ended up putting a 2.5 in there just to give it a little more room. Because I think it kind of needs that. So that's all good and fine. The flavor is good. It's not the best I've tried, but it is good. One thing that I do find interesting is this. If you look at the bottom and look at the cavernous squonk hole, that is the largest squonk hole of, I think, any atomizer I've seen. That sumbitch is huge. And what that means is you can do what I just did just a few minutes before the show by accident. I was talking to somebody and admittedly not really paying attention, and squeezed my squonk bottle, and then looked down when all of a sudden I realized what atomizer I was squonking. I looked down and let me get it back on real quick. Juice was coming out the top. I had filled up the entire atomizer, which is small with a small chamber. I had filled the whole thing up. The juice was at the top of the drip tip and coming out the sides slowly, because they're really small and angled, but it was starting to come out the sides as well. So I was like, shit, gotta let go, and that's what happens. I need to actually pay attention when I squonk, which I was not doing. So yeah, there's that. So you can very easily squonk this, I guess. It does not take much to really fill up that tiny chamber, the giant squonk hole. So that good or bad. It's good when you're paying attention. I guess it's good. It's good when you're paying attention. Single stack says the supersonic is larger. Possibly. I haven't seen the supersonic one. But yes, a Motherhead, that's one of the things I thought about when I looked at it, is that's something that's going to work when it's cold. Like if you live up north. If you're in Chi-Town or New York City, or colder, like in Billings or something, I don't know, or in Maine or in Minnesota, that would probably work really well for you. It'd be really easy to squawk. It's good. It's good. Motherhead, I barely got to this last week. I did not look at the Concord again. I'm sorry, dude. I'm not freaking out at work, but I've done as much as I can do, and then after the workday is done, and I do family time and stuff after that, my brain just turns off. I've got no more cares for the Concord. I tried the Concord, I just didn't try hard enough. I admit that I didn't try hard enough. The armor, I don't think the armor is as big as this. I had the armor a while back, and when I looked at the armor, I didn't go, "Holy shit, that's a really big squonk hole," like I did with this one. Investigate over skunk a 55-gallon drum. You could probably do it with this then. Yes, the coil was well saturated after it was at the drip tip. Yes, that's true. That is true. So that's the one. I have definitely enjoyed it. I do want to, when I can, I do want to pull this out. I do want to try abolishment in here because I really want to be able to squonk abolishment. I mean, this is still what I carry around when I want to vape abolishment, and that's often. I just use my billet box because every time I put it in a squonker, it's like it doesn't. With a light, fruity, minty vape like abolishment is, to me, when you add too much heat, and it's really easy to do, if you add too much heat to it, it doesn't work for me. I really like a different, I guess, a specific sort of vape when it comes to abolishment.
I got it the way you describe, or the way you like it.
What's that? What was that, Food?
I think I have the perfect amount of heat on mine.
Yeah. Yeah, and you do. You just got to get it just right. And I think you have to have the right addy too. I mean, I've tried it in the CA. It's not bad. It's not that I don't like it. It's just that I don't like it like I like it in other things. Not the same.
You know what probably tastes great in? K-Fun 5.
It does taste good in K-Fun 5.
I actually never had it out of here. I just went straight to the piss. This is good.
I do want to pull this out. I don't remember. Did I just say that? Maybe I did.
Boy, you can't keep track.
I can't. Brain fried. No good. So anyway, if you do have one and you're having a hard time with the top cap like I was, Narda O-ring. I don't have anything to update on the Gloom and the Bliss. I have not seen any. Actually, that is one thing I can talk about. Something that Massey and I talked about last week when I got it is I haven't seen any coloration or anything yet, which I was told that it doesn't do. Unlike the other sorts of white synthetic plastics that you can put in your pocket, will often get blue jeaned. I haven't seen it, but then again, I haven't been carrying it but a week, right? So we'll definitely keep trying that out. We'll keep trying that out. He's using Meganux is only using pulses now. Have you tried the pulse, Foo?
I have. I've handled it. Vaped at one. It's not bad. It's a little boxy for me, but it's like a $40 or $50 kit. I think that came with the Addy, the Pulse BF, I believe, which ain't a bad Addy.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I believe it actually does have a lock too.
Oh yeah. Is it Vandy Vape or is it Geek Vape?
I want to say it's Geek Vape.
You want to say it's Geek Vape?
I want to say it's Geek Vape. I could be wrong. Wait for chat. Vandy. Damn it. Fuck. My gut said Vandy, but I was like,
yeah, I had in my head it was Vandy. But yeah, no, it's hard to go wrong with that price. That's for sure. It looks like a pretty solid piece of kit for $1. I don't like boxes. Duro says confirmed Pulse is Vandy. Yep. So does Sport Life. Vandy. So does Meganox.
It's not a K Fun 5, so I don't give a fuck.
It's not a K Fun 5. That is true. That is true. Festy, so the wood freestyle gets no love anymore. Unlike my glooms, I busted this. And I busted it by doing what I never do. I have dropped mods, I think total in the last 5 or 6 years or whatever I've been vaping. I've dropped mods 1, 2, 3 times. One time was the tosser stick getting out of my car. I was on a long road trip and it was sitting on my lap. And I got out for gas and forgot it was there, right? Skittered across the pavement. But it turned out okay. The only thing that broke was my drip tip chipped. So that was a bummer. And then I dropped my Dia on the curb once from my pocket, missed my pocket, and I did the same thing with this. I missed my pocket not too long ago, and I broke the bottom plate, unfortunately, sadly, right there. So I have not been using it because it needs to be sent back and I still have the piece because it's got my serial number on it too, man. I don't want it busted. I don't want to lose it. So Dayan said he would he could fix that, no problem. And I just want them to check it, make sure everything's up to spec. I think it's a 1.2, but I was going to have them, just kind of give the internals a once over 2. So there's no hatred for this. In fact, this is I love the grain in this thing. It is just a beautiful mod, and I still love how it feels. That unvarnished, just sanded walnuts feels so good.
Did I ever tell you how this big ding on my SX Mini got here? This is the first one too.
Was that the one where you going out of the door?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was getting out of the car. I was going to a shop actually, and the wind was so ridiculous that day. It blew my door shut. And before I could even back away from the car, it smacked my hand. I just went drip tip shot off. It hit the opposite curb in the parking lot. It skidded forever. That was the first big ding I got on it. I don't think it had been dropped like that since. I think everything else is just chipping and all that.
Yeah. Just wear.
For anyone that owned one, these are the first marks you start seeing the bottom finish.
Mine was like that. I never dropped it hard enough to get the side messed up, but the bottom, just by putting on desks and stuff, after a while that paint just chipped.
I think a lot of these scratches came from interacting with shit in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
I only remember actually this thing taking one big spill. That fateful afternoon.
To my credit, Will was giving me shit earlier about how I've had a very unlucky vape year this last year. Just it seems like I've had a bunch of things break. At least I never actively broke all my Reaper glass. That was his kryptonite. My kryptonite are MOSFETs.
Will did that?
Yeah, dude, he broke like legit. I think he broke 4 or 5 Reaper tanks.
God damn.
MOSFETs are my enemies. I'll totally. That's definitely seems to be the truth. But
that's what happens when I turned you over to the MOSFET side.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's done. I did, and to be clear, I did break one. I broke one MOSFET, or not MOSFET. I broke one Reaper glass, and that was because I was on camera unboxing it. I was going to do a video for the channel. And so the camera was in front of me, and I was reaching around it. I was like, "Hey, look at this cool tin." I'd show you, but I don't have it handy. So I was look at this cool tin, and as soon as I turned it, I rotated it in my hand, the bottom fell out of the tin, which I didn't even know could happen. I thought it was just a top thing where you had to a pop top, like an old 70s beer can kind of thing, right? That you popped and pulled the tin, pulled the top off, but the bottom came out while I was doing this on camera, and so that heavy bass that comes with just goes. Smacks down, and the atomizer is screwed into it too. So when it hit flat like that, sorry, I just probably made a big noise on the mic. My bad. So when it hit down, just that small amount of shattered the tank. Oh well. But I'm not going to take a whole lot of credit for that. That was a malfunction of the packaging. Plus, I was reaching around the camera. I might have been able to save it otherwise, if I wasn't reaching around the camera. Fessy said, "There's nothing as fragile as the glass in a kabuki." Is that right? The upside is at least Zen's still around. Could probably still get glass. I would imagine. So we talk about that stuff. I did jot down something else. I've seen a lot of people posting pictures of their Omen dripsticks, and if you haven't seen those, I've talked about them a bunch of times. I mentioned it, give links and stuff in here, but Omen made a 14500 mech, teeny tiny little sumbitch, and even with the integrated dripper, the whole thing is smaller than a jewel, which is kind of cool, or shorter than a jewel anyway. Obviously, it's rounder, but it's it's adorable, and I have to say I'm slightly jealous. I'm considering trying to chase one down, just for the novelty of it more than anything. Like just
phone call.
Great. Both of my ghosts are on phone calls. The most professional show in vaping, everyone. Robert Raimondo, hybrid mods taking back. Yeah, that's true. So the interesting thing about it is it's the newer one is not even just a hybrid. It's actually got a 510 adapter on it. So what I was thinking about doing was picking one up and obviously playing with the dripper, but also going to find one of the tiny tanks. If you remember, the Origin made a little bitty 16 millimeter tank, it was like an upside down RDTA with like these little legs that came down, and juice would go down there, and it was touching a wick, and it would come up to the thing. So the coil's on the bottom, and Sean he ran one of those things for a long time. Aaron thinks he's going to get some Ultim. I have to tell you, that is why I didn't buy one. I'm not going to put my mouth on the Ultim. That's gross. I'm not going to pay money for that. That's stupid. So, man. Aaron says, super too heavy with a tiny tank. Yeah, maybe. The
vape was just too hot in a tiny tank for me, no matter what you built, and it's way too small chamber.
Yeah,
it's a good Addy,
but it's a 14500 battery behind it. I can't imagine it's too hot.
I forgot they also made one.
I can't imagine it's too hot. But we'll see. Duro said, "Remember when Mike said he had hired employees to keep up with his ZNA? Did he have to let them go?" I assume so. I don't think. I know they're still in business, and the last I heard, they still the Zen Museum or whatever that he runs out of there. I think it's still open.
Did he have to let them go? I mean, he brought it in for a specific purpose, and the ZNA unfortunately is not made anymore. I don't know why. It's a good mod. Battery rattle aside, I thought it was really cool. The problem with the ZNA to me was it looked awesome with an 18490 in it. What do you think this is based off of?
Yeah, exactly. Except for it was smaller. It was really well made and small, and it looked awesome. But when you want to put a regular, like a full-size 18650 in it, it looked kind of goofy because like the little side saddle thing was too short. It looked weird. I really feel like he should have modeled it for a 650. ZFO, thank you, Kyle. That's exactly right. That is exactly right. Yeah. Anyway, I do think that that it was a really neat mod. I just kind of wish it was made in style for this 650. I probably would have purchased one and kept it had that been the case. As much as because I really did like the way it went, the way it looked.
They were all DNA 30 as well, weren't they?
Yeah,
DNA 30 or 40, I forget.
I think it may have started at 30 and then gone to the 40. It was right around the same time of if it was only the 40, it was really early on the 40.
I think he launched the 30 or 40, one of those chips, the 40.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe so. Anyway, neat Addy, or neat mod rather. Duro said he sold his ZNA during the hype. Yeah, the other thing, I mean, obviously he was pushing for that
Z2 threading.
Z2 threading, yeah.
Which is good threading.
Good. Huh?
It's a good thread.
It's a good thread. The 510 is the worst idea ever. Both the P3 and the Z2 were both way better threads.
Someone made a good analogy in that the 510 is VHS and the Betamax is the Z2. I'm like, yeah.
That's about right. That's right. The other that lost is the better tech. Yeah.
Okay, the ZNA was 30 only. If you wanted a 40, he'd sell you the kit.
Gotcha. Thank you, Kyle, for a little back. I didn't remember that. I thought it was a 30 then 40. I didn't realize it was 20 then 30. Really? Interesting. Oh, Gular is saying the first 100 were ZNA or DNA 20s. Then there were 30s. Okay, that's possible. That seems more likely because I know he had some. How should we say this diplomatically? Zen and Evolve didn't get along very well after that whole thing. So, honestly, I was not in the middle of that conversation, so I don't know who was at fault.
Would you say there was a mad scramble?
You can't say that about the 30. The 30 didn't scramble.
Oh, that was a 40. Come on, I just wanted to make the joke.
You did. It was good. It was fun.
I can't remember who released the flagship mod for the 40.
Hannah.
That's what it was,
wasn't it? I think it was.
I think you're right.
In fact, I think it was. Do you remember when old Steam Monkey jumped into our chat like a private SSH and told us about the nickel stuff?
Yes.
Oh, that was so funny. And he's like, yeah, the build I've got here is like a 0.10. We were like, what? That's like a dead short, man. Oh, man, that was so funny. I totally forgot about that. And yeah, no, that was and that was the problem with that design. Not only did it look kind of silly, it didn't stand up well, right? With the 652 in it.
The handles were great. I mean, they're some of the prettiest mods I've ever seen. I had two issues with them. A, the button. First and foremost, fuck that button. B, they scratched very easy.
Dude, they scratched easy. That button with the tack switch button was awful. It was terrible.
Would it kill you to put a MyTech on there or something?
Okay, Duro. So I know the town in Hawaii is Hana, but for whatever reason, I always call the mod. It's a Hana mod. I don't know why, which is weird because you would think with my my southern predilections in my vocabulary and pronunciation, you would think I would be more open and less nasally, but I don't know why. I don't know why I always say Hana. But that said, the Hana was still a pretty and anodized and not a Hammond box, which back then was amazing, right? I mean, because like everything else was, if you weren't vaping a tube, it was basically a Hammond box. So the Hana was a cool mod, except for they broke all the time and they had the terrible button.
What a lousy Monday.
Yeah, no, it's bad.
It fucking snowed this morning. And then the sun came out and melted like at least half of it. It snowed on April 2nd.
How did we get on Hana mods when I started with Omen dripsticks?
Oh, we started talking about DNAs or so. We started talking about ZNAs, I think.
Yeah, but why?
I don't remember.
That's all right. That's how the conversation flows. I did get one thing vape mail wise.
I'll blame chat. Whatever. I'll blame chat. Whatever. It was a good chat.
So I can't talk about that because that's secret. Damn it. I will talk about that soon. I did get one other thing in vape mail, and I got it because of you.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So let's zoom up. Low close-ups. I got some of those things.
Them brushes.
Yeah. So I went on, and these just showed up out of the blue earlier, like late last week, and I'd forgotten to order them. I got on Fast Tech for some reason or another like a month ago, and these were in my cart, and unfortunately, the reason I actually went to Fast Tech is it's still being shipped, but this part showed up randomly. And they're even labeled for e-cig uses, but I don't know. They seem too soft to really kind of get after it if I was wanting to brush a coil off.
Yeah, well, they're also good. Well, the one I have is a little like stiffer, but like when you vape and Addy for a while, like when I was cleaning up my Narca, actually.
Yeah.
I had the disc one in there for like all 200 something mils of it.
Yeah.
And it like stained some parts, so like the brush definitely helped just getting all that, and like shit will build up in the top cap.
That's a good point. No, that's exactly what that would be a great use.
So it came in handy for that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. That's good. So maybe not brushing coils, but maybe cleaning out addies.
I mean, I use it. I do the coils too, but it's like another use I found for it.
Fessy says guesses on what the bristles are made from. I'm
Chinese fiberglass.
I'm guessing dog pubes. That's what I'm guessing. I don't know why. That's just my guess. I still, well, you know what I use for my try-hard coils lately? I busted this back out. I haven't used it for a while. Is that metal brush that I got a while back? I use this for brushing out the try-hard coils. And I'm re-wicking and pulsing and whatnot. There is one thing. What is it? It's the Haku. The deck on the Haku, I think it's the positive side. For whatever reason, that one does tend to cling on and get just kind of stay a little brown, even after you wash it out with when you've been vaping as much rail cracker as I do. And I bet that will be perfect for that. And the other thing, obviously, is exactly what you just said, which is, when you've got that kind of shit. Look at that right there. That's exactly what I can use this for. Look at it. It's just some schmutz. Just some schmutz in there. That's what I need to do. Good. Well, we found a use for that. Awesome. Click. Perfect. It's whatever the brushes are, they're definitely synthetic. It's not Horsehair or anything, but it's somewhere between like a pipe cleaner, and pipe cleaners are too soft. This is stiffer than a pipe cleaner and not as stiff as boar's hair.
Boar.
So
no, I smacked my monitor and now it's leaning down.
Anxie is solo, dude. Where you been? That was like an hour ago. Cooler, catch up. Is Masty alive? I think he is alive. Like I said, it was an emergency ice cream meeting. So it happens. It happens.
I really hope he does that thing I sent him earlier.
If he doesn't, then maybe you have to just share it.
Yeah, no, Angsty wasn't solo. I dipped for a second because I needed to blow my nose and didn't have any used juice paper towels on my desk to blow my nose into on a whim for once. So I had to grab an untainted one. So I don't have any abolishment or whatever while I'm blowing my nose.
Right. Well, so we talked about it earlier that I've had very little vape mail that I can talk about, and I don't think Foo's had any, and there's not been really a whole lot of anything happening, but there is a purchase that I'm thinking about making, and this might be an interesting venue for it, because there maybe somebody that watches this has an interest in this.
Oh shit!
Welcome. I had to change. I had ice cream all over me.
Are you just sweeping? Were you just sweeping sprinkles off your shirt?
It's fucking hot in Florida. We need, sprinkles. Sorry. Go ahead, Anxie. I know you were in the middle of saying something.
Well, no, I'm actually really glad you're here, because you probably would have have a little insight into this. I was thinking about one of the things that I do when I have spare brain cycles is, and I need to pull up a link, is I'm a hack, not talented. I'm a hack at woodworking. Work on tree carcasses. Just something I do for giggles. And let's see, let's pull this up.
Love you too, Dorito.
And while I have an amount of reasonable tools out there, one of the things I never bought around to buying was a drill press. And I was thinking about buying one because a while back.
You're a vapor and don't have a. Oh wait, we don't drill our fucking addies.
Yeah, we don't drill addies anymore. And the addies I used to drill, I just did it with a hand drill.
That was bad news bears when I was drinking and opening up a freaking IGO hole while holding the thing in my hand and thinking if this fucking bit slips, I'm gonna have the hole through my finger.
Yeah, I put mine in a vise. I put mine in my vise with some cardboard on the other side, so I didn't score it up too much, and they just
Biggles drilled mine out on my dining table with oven mitts.
That was back before they were using Chinesium for the caps. So it was pretty tough to drill through these things.
Even the Nimbus clone, even the Nimbus clone top cap, I wore out some bits drilling that out.
Well, remember the IGO T was ostensibly titanium. And I remember somebody saying they tried to drill one of those things out and just broke bit after bit trying to get that shit out of there.
It wasn't titanium. It was Tinesium.
Exactly. That's what ostensibly it was supposed.
Well, and then you had people that would be like, "Oh, well, I want the oval holes," and I'm like, "Well, you can go fuck yourself."
You're gonna get
two holes right next to each other.
You can have these oval nuts.
Yeah. So anyway, so you were saying thinking about getting a drill press.
Yeah. So I've been shopping around for them, and I've had it in the back of my head for a while, and the reason is I've got a project that I was trying to help my wife out with, and it requires a bunch of small holes like in a grid kind of pattern on a piece of wood, and then I print it up and do a bunch of stuff to it. So I could do all the other stuff. I've got a router table, and I've got some other stuff to handle most of it, except for the last time I built one of these things I did it all with a hand drill, and it was a pain in the dick.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to make several of these, which is what she wants, I'm going to need some way to do it a little more repeat in an easier repeating sort of pattern without, walking shit around and trying to like move over half an inch and not fuck it up. And you know how it is. Yeah. So I was like, okay, fine. I'm finally going to make some room in my budget and buy one. So some of the things that I know that I've had in the back of my head for a while that I've heard from people, because I've had this in the back of my head for a couple of years now. And I've asked some experienced machinists about it, not machinists, but shop people as well as machinists. And they have always said to me that I wanted and again, by the way, this is for, I'm a home gamer, right? Like AVE calls it. I'm not a pro. I'm not going to be drilling fucking tool steel. Yeah. It'll be tree carcasses and aluminum probably, but that's all I'm going to use this for. So I don't need something crazy expensive. I just spend a couple $100. Yeah. And so the things that I know I need to have around is a big enough work table underneath there, and I've heard that it's a good idea to have a 5/8 chuck, so that you can use the larger bits if you need to, and variable speed's good, and anyway, and enough clearance, right? So I've found this one that has some good reviews. Pull it up here, and again, not fancy. Yeah, should be reasonable. So the Win is apparently the same shop that makes the Win is the same shop that makes the Jet. And the Jet is a much more expensive one. And apparently the Jet version of this is like $500.
Can you hold the mouse over the bottom of the plate there? Go down.
Yeah, so it's got a little extendable work table thing, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
And then the work table itself can cant off to the left and right, so you can do angled cuts, angle holes. Yeah. Anyway, so I've been poking around a little bit and trying to figure out what I would like to do. I think this is a pretty good one. If anybody's got a better ideas, throw us a comment, and I will definitely consider it. I was also thinking about picking up one of these guys. Obviously, you can spend $200 on an XY drill vise.
Dude, So I don't have mine anymore. I think I gave it away. I bought one of those, spent like 50, $60 on it, and never used it.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. I wish I would have kept. Oh, I mean, it probably would have cost you $40 for me to ship it to you.
Probably so.
But yeah, no. Honestly, I mean, I know some people have problems with the Harbor Freight stuff.
Yeah.
But I actually bought it from a friend of mine, and it's an old one. It's a central machinery old one, and it's got the variable speed on the head. So you just change the belt. You just move the belt up and down, and you get different speeds.
Yep.
And I've used that for probably 10, 12 years, and it's worked, perfectly fine. Now I wish I had more. I wish I had gotten the stand-up one, because that gives you a lot more clearance.
Absolutely.
And a bigger table. Like that little extension with the table that you had, that one is really nice. And but other than that, it's the more important part is using the right bits and keeping that surface cool. I mean, when you're doing wood, it's not going to be an issue, but like aluminum and stuff like that, it's get the right speed, and you can cut through some shit if you're using the right bit and the right speed. So
from what I've seen, there's people that were using this thing to cut steel, mild steel and stuff. So I would think it would be all right.
It got really popular, like those Amazon ones, like the one you showed, got really popular when people were. I mean, I'm sure they still are, but when they were doing their, when we're talking about, steel and stuff like that, when they started doing a lot of the steel and aluminum, they started doing a lot of the aluminum lowers for the AR platform, where they were buying the kits, and you needed to have pretty much a drill press and the guide, and you would just drill press through all the holes and flip it and do it. And so those became really popular, that had, the different speeds and stuff like that. So, and they have they've come out with some pretty awesome technology on the bits when you're doing aluminum and stuff like that. Cause aluminum, man, it'll build up on that tool, and you're not gonna, you're making it dull because you're building, if you're not doing right, your feeds and speeds, and you're stuff building up on the edge of that tool, and you got to clean that shit off. So, but
yeah, brother, I'd check ABE, but I'm pretty sure he is the times that I remember he has ever used a drill press he's like, I've got this shitty old drill press, but why would I use it? Because I've got a mill.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
Well, I'll say this though. I mean, it is nice being able to, just do something real quick instead of having to put, your piece down, tie it down on tooling, get the tooling and all that other stuff. So,
that's what I want to do, right? Is I want something repeatable and quick, so I can knock these things out. Because I'd like to spend more time on making the whole thing look attractive, and not jacking with these little holes that I have to put in there. That's right. That's annoying. So I think that might be going for it. I'm not going to buy it for a couple of days probably. So if somebody's got a comment, leave it in the comment. Leave in the doobly doo whatever comments below me, and I'll look at them. That's it. And I know that. Oh gosh. So I know that XY, that Vice sucks. Yeah, it totally sucks. And there's a reason that it's $40. But there's $200 really like super nice ones out there. Absolutely. Would I love to have them? Yes. But I think I'd rather spend that money on the press and not the Vice, because I can always replace the Vice. And if nothing else, I can always clamp on the work table, right? Even if the Vice sucks, I'll throw it in the trash and I'll just clamp on the work table. It'll be fine. So that was something that I've been thinking about in the last couple of days. Doing. I'm pretty excited about it, actually. I haven't had a good wood project in a while. Sounds like
working on what I always told people, it's like I've refinished some really messed up SKS stocks in the past. Like we're talking about a 6-week process of refinishing, you know, not to like showroom quality, but just bringing it back from the shit that it's been through, you know, gouges and score marks and stuff like that, where you want to keep some of that to still show that it's, you know, gone through that, but you don't want to just buy a brand new stock and put it on.
Right.
And it just, you know, it's something about being able to do that with your hands and, you know, being able to feel the work that you're doing. I think we should play some sexy music.
Definitely.
But you know, that you know, gives you a woody. So while you're working with your wood, sand your wood. There you go.
Yep. So that's I completely agree. Every time I go through a woodworking thing, and even if it's something that I already like, I know what I need at the end, or if it's something that I just kind of have a general idea and I just kind of make it up as I go along. Like even when I was building my bench and stuff, right? Even simple things like that. It's a fun process. It's cool to see something physical. So that's like the creative process thing, right? What I do for a living is I create lots of things, and I do it in a creative way, and it's through programming, right? And at the end of it, I get this thing that works, and it's so cool to like feed it and watch it spit out the stuff that it needs or do whatever it needs to do. And that's really cool.
Like a kid, you feed it and it shits in a diaper.
That's right. And in my case, just feed it data and not bananas or whatever, right? But so that's awesome. But there's something equally awesome, and maybe even more so, about having something in your hand, like tangible. This is something that I made, and it still does what I need it to do. And if it's a tool, or if it's a just something that's convenient, or storage thing, or whatever, right? At the end of the day, you've got this thing that I made with my hands, and it looks awesome, and I can customize it however I like and change things around. It's there's nothing quite like it. I always said if I would do something like that if I was independantly wealthy.
I mean, I made something in my bathroom this morning that kept people out for like 45 minutes. I was like, fuck it.
Suck it. Yeah.
Like, yep. That's one of mine.
Ken's asked if you had to clean out 30 or 40 years of Cosmoline.
Oh yeah. I mean, you know, it was a few years back. I did 3 of them. One of the stocks I had, it was cracked, which is very common for example, like the Yugo style. And the Cosmoline, you know, wasn't as bad as just being I mean, it was the amount of soil and grease and stuff that was in it. And you know, one of the ways that I was taking some of the cuts and gouges out is you literally take after cleaning it, you know, because you don't want to go too crazy on the wood, because it will splinter, you know, while it's drying. But I was steaming them out, and you basically, you know, use an iron, and you know, that does steam, and you put it over that area, and you can actually raise that welt back out of the wood. I mean, it's not gonna be perfect, but close enough.
Right.
And man, I went through some terry cloth towels because there was just more and more and more. And I think that the grueling process was the refinishing it with by hand with BLO. I did one with boiled linseed oil, and I did another one with I forget what other kind of oil I used. But yeah, I mean, it's literally rub on a coat, you know, and you know,
let it try to dry in the Florida humidity.
In the Florida humidity, yeah, it's always. I learned quite a bit with, you know, what the wood does when you're trying to deal with. I mean, humidity is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So, you know, like you know, people. I see some people. They're like, oh yeah, I had these, you know, this Baltic birch or whatever, you know, sheets out in my garage or in my house, and you know, it's temperature controlled, and they're still warping. They're all warped, and I'm like, yeah, that's because you have different areas on the wood that have different moisture levels. You know, I'm like, you know, you grab a rag that's damp, you wet that surface, and you flip it over and put some weight on it, and I guarantee you that it'll, you know, it's going to straighten out. You know, they're like, what? Put water on wood? I'm like, you guys are freaking, we're not sitting there dunking the wood, but
run a fucking heater fan, boom, done.
Yeah, well, yeah, the heater will freaking catch it on fire. But no, I mean, it's pretty awesome, you know, doing that stuff. That's why when a lot of the mods started doing some of the true, we're not talking about, fucking dipped in plexiglass wood mods. We're talking about just straight, really good looking straight wood mods. It was awesome. And then the whole trend of petrified and fucking dipped in stabilized shit and dipped in Rice Krispie treats mixed in with
Legos,
clown
shoes. Yeah, exactly. That really, and they just went off the deep end after that. All the lids and all the other shit. But it was good there while it lasted, and then China started getting involved, and you start seeing some of this shit coming over, and you're like, is this really wood? No, it's fucking plastic that they've mixed with some wood resin and particles. So
what happened to my pylon?
It would be wouldn't it come from a choke tree at this point?
Well, do you remember Ahmed, do you remember one of the conventions that we were at, that there was a group that was there with these were probably like 100-watt devices back then, so it was pretty crazy, but they looked like they had just routed out a 2x4 and put a 510 on it. Do you remember those? And like the lid was just like press fit the lid.
Yep.
Yeah, that was, and they used like stain, like wood stain, to stain the pieces. And when it was getting hot, like it was rubbing off on people's hands. It was.
I feel like that was the first.
That's why the FDA is regulating vaping.
Well, you remember? I think it was the second one that we went to out east. That we met the guys from Sean's neck of the woods that had that ridiculous like 400 watt.
Was it the dual battery?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was
theirs was a lipo mech.
It was a lipo. Yeah, it was like a series 2 or 3 series lipo. And it was not regulated. Besides that, it was just dumping crazy ass, because I had a drag off of one of the dudes. God, what was the name of this company? It's killing me.
Yeah.
That we had him on the show. At some point. Anyway, I had to drag off his 250 watt ridiculous one. It was his smaller, his lightweight one. Oh my God, it was like blew my head off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's all I got. I think that's all I got today.
Yeah, it's a slow week for me. I didn't have any crucifixions or nothing. Not really. It was slow. It was a slow vaping week. I'm back. I got the squonker back up and running. That's probably pretty major.
It is major.
So, Ahmed, did you get a set of stainless or titanium wire yet?
No, not yet. So soon I'm going to be trying out the replay.
Yeah. So for any of you that haven't picked up a mod with a DNA 250C board, we got some, and where did my mod go? But I'm trying to get a hold of some pre-built coils in either titanium or stainless steel, and try out the replay feature, which basically is going to, let's say you have your build where you want it, it's vaping great, and you want to try to keep that same drag that you have going, and basically replay your previous hit. The boards now have the feature where they will mimic the previous usage of it. So I mean, it literally is the same exact vape every time. So
the short of it, and I haven't talked about it because the last I checked, we couldn't talk about it. But you're right. That's exactly what it is. If you have the coil and the build set up the way you want it, you sit there and vape it until you have your perfect drag, and then you basically just say save. And from then, if it's cold, it doesn't matter. If it's already hot, it doesn't matter. You hit it.
Right. You don't have to worry about it sitting and cooling off or being hot and worrying about, temperature control. And I've been told that it is not temperature control. This is a new feature. So, been willing to.
Yeah, you still do need temperature limiting wire.
Correct.
Yeah, your
Yep.
build's
So it's a play, right? It's a play off that, but you don't have to worry about all the other factors.
Yes, right.
Like
all the TCR curves, all the setting the wattage of the preheat, preload amp, blah 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 crap. None of that shit.
Yeah.
You just vape it until you like it, and you hit there. That's what I want. Done.
Yeah.
And yes, Motherhead, it does detect there's no TCR curve to set.
Right.
Just it's been watching as you vape. It's been watching.
It's been watching you. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you have to enable it and then do it, and then it will record whatever the last hit that you had was.
Yeah. It's watching temperature, it's watching your ramp up, it's watching all of that.
Yeah, which is neat, because that coil can change. That was one of my biggest issues was from one day to another was, man, I would pick up that device. I would pick up that device the next day, and it was like freaking that ramp up was like 150 watt coming back down. And that was rough because of the temperature changes and just from it sitting or another thing was when you're charging it, it was getting warm, so the model would get warm, so it would be different. So did you guys talk? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask about the same thing. Did you have you tried it yet? Have you messed with it yet?
I have not tried the replay yet.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about, the replay thing. So the stuff that I've tried, did it work? Yeah, it did. And because I had Sweet Spot titanium in this, and I tried it in stainless in this too, and it does seem like it works. But I think I'm not getting the full experience of it, and I have to be honest with all the other stuff, including the Concorde, William, that I haven't spent much time with yet. I haven't done a whole lot of testing on the last month, which I probably should have, but I haven't. But what I need to do is go back and revisit with a dripper, because I feel like it would be more noticeable with a warmer build and a dripper than a low watt tank. And because while it works, it has worked in here, it would probably be better in a dripper, and that's something that I have not done, which I do need to do. So sorry, I was just going to continue that before we switched over.
He doesn't even know how to break reefer glass. Oh mother.
So I don't know if you guys covered. Did you guys cover the Joule image?
No.
So user on Reddit.
I didn't cover it, but I did see that the other day. Yeah.
Fat Mikey posted the amount of Joule butts that I have picked up this week walking to class. That's fucking insane.
You're hitting that shit too much.
Like, I mean, yeah, that's cool that
you fucking walking 2 days to class.
Apparently it was a whole week.
Yeah, that's still a lot of fucking pods.
Yeah, that's a lot of pods. But dude, can you imagine if all these kids are in college vaping and they're not throwing these shits in a garbage can? Like what? Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, it's even the caps. Like that means that they popped the old one off, threw it on the ground, popped the new one off, took the cap off, and threw the cap on the ground. Like what the fuck? So
there's one of them with it on there, which could be they pulled off the old one, put the new one in, and
put it on it. Yeah.
Still, I see them occasionally on like later on the ground, like they're a cigarette, but it makes me laugh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess a cigarette butt isn't gonna break down either. But these probably easier to pick up too if you've seen the contrast. Yeah. Between the colored and the dark.
I'm a big anti-littering person. Like littering drives me nuts.
Yeah.
But that said, I totally would throw a butt on the ground. Like if there was, I would look for an ashtray, and if there wasn't an ashtray around, yeah, that shit was on the street.
See, like down here, we've gotten, and I mean, I don't know how bad it had been, out there where you're at, but man, like especially driving, you don't do that shit because you will start a fire. I mean, it is when it's dry down here, and people just flick that shit out the window. You'll see the sides of 95. You know, when it was, you know, when it's windy, it'll just pick up.
Yeah, because if you've seen those things roll, those things will go, boy.
Yep. That, or I saw one where I think we showed the picture. I don't remember. It was a few years ago, but with our, I don't even know, what are we up to, like 698 years of vaping experience. We showed, huh?
It's a give or take.
We showed one, I think, on the show where a guy had flicked the butt out of the car, and it bounced, and it got stuck on the grill of a car that was driving behind it, and it actually melted like part of the front fascia plastic of this car because it just sat there, and the wind hitting it, it was like a little mini blowtorch.
Yep.
So, but and the other one that I was wondering if you guys talked about, did you talk about the judge?
The vaping judge.
No, I forgot about
that. Fucking idiot.
So
I should have pulled that up. You're right.
So here's a picture of a New York judge, Judge Vincent Del Giudice, Giudice, and he's the other. They're saying he's the other Brooklyn Ripper, and basically he routinely was sneaking rips from his quote unquote vape pen as he presided over cases, and basically the one that got attention. Yeah, the one that got attention on it was the murder trial of the accused Brooklyn Ripper, and everybody knew about it, but nobody said anything. And apparently, basically, would slightly hold his hand up to his face as he was stroking his goatee, and a blue light kept from his hand.
You get for using one with a fucking stupid light.
Yeah. So basically they vaping in a courtroom is very illegal under the
that's
states.
Daryl just said there's nothing wrong with that, but what you just said, Massey, is the important part.
Yeah.
Nobody else.
Yeah. So basically vaping inside courtrooms is very illegal under the state's Clean Indoor Air Act, and breaking the law is punishable by a fine up to $2,000 according to the state health department. He was sitting at the bench on Wednesday when a reporter approached him. When the judge, with his e-cig dangling from his lips, asked what the reporter wanted to ask about, he gestured to the device and said, "I was hoping to speak with you about that precisely." The judge of 38 years quickly pocketed the vaporizer. No comment. Well, he pretty much.
What vape? I don't see
what
a vape.
vaporizer.
Yeah,
magic.
Yeah. So there was an update on this story, and basically he got just slap in the hand, and the next day, he was seen chewing some Nicorette gum and not feeling very nice about it. So.
Easier.
See, there's no lights on this one.
Mm-hmm.
At least not from the end, anyway.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. So
because at least with a jewel, you could even just putting his hand.
Well, the problem is the noise. Did you hear this?
Yeah,
it's that crackle factor, man.
And see, the thing too is
better than a fucking Alienware fucking case in your hand.
I know he's got a mute up there for himself, but he's mic'd up, and from the look of the picture, he was. Let me pull that back up. It looked like
maybe he has it on his mic. He's got a cough button. Maybe he just puts a little tape and puts a vape button.
Yeah. So he doesn't have a mic on the seat, so he's got a mic. I'm pretty sure he's mic'd up, and so I'm sure that the crackle factor was happening. So
whatever, don't be a dummy.
But
use a stealthier piece.
But I mean, so he was presiding over one of the cases that had actual jury. But if he was a judge that was doing traffic infractions or something to do with child custody or something like that, I would want, and I was in there, I would want the fucker to be vaping because he's going to be a little bit more even keeled.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
fucking smoke a
the
cigarette
next
in there,
day,
dude.
you know that the dude probably got you know, the needle the next day when he had to come in, if he was, you know, making the decision here, because
And
he
wanted
was
a
on
cigarette, right? He's like, yeah, fuck him, I'm gone. I gotta smoke.
Well, you know, the thing too is, you know, those guys are you know, sitting. I mean, I know they can take recesses and stuff like that, but you know, they're sitting there for a few hours. And anyways, he should have known better. And you know, got the slap on the hand. So, but yeah, that's two of the things that I had.
I'm glad you came on because I'd forgotten both of those things. That was good.
Good. So, did you see the images of the mod that David 4500 put up of the Dicodes FL80 box?
Oh, is that the? If it's the one that I'm thinking about, I think I just talked about it today with Vanis. I think.
Is it the one that had the Ultim buttons? No. This was a home built box.
Gotcha. No.
Okay, I'll pull the pictures up of this, and let's see. It's got an interesting build to it. Let's see. So this is I've shown some of his stuff on here before. He's on Reddit under the username David 4500. And
is that the guy who made the battery sleds for you?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, all right. I knew I remember that name.
So here is we'll start out with the finished product. So there's that. And yeah, I know. P color. Here is the board. So this one he's using the Dicodes FL80, which will do 40 to 80 watts. Sorry, 40 watt on one battery, 80 watt on two batteries, and 12 volt 20 amp max. And you can see those at Dicodes. I think it's Dicodes dash NL or something. So for the website, and then here's a few.
Is that Frederick the Elder? That's hilarious. Friedrich del Grosse.
Del Grosse. Here's a picture of the milling out of the box. Oh, let's go back to that one, and then let's see the last one. That's just was a nice. Here's a shot of the board. The back of the board. Kind of. He'd look like a DNA-ish. Using a similar board design, slim.
Bestie said that there's a new Danny box. New Danny box coming out in a couple weeks. I didn't know that. It's cool.
And here is the final shot. So there you go. Kind of cool.
Is that a Mud Maker box?
Not sure.
Well, it looks kind of like a Mud Maker.
It looks kind of like it. Let me see if he put anything in the comments about it.
It's clean wiring.
So this is actually using 21700s. It's actually got a pretty big inductor on it. So let's see. Custom. Wow, the Dicodes chip cost them about $130.
Boom!
God damn.
Holy shit. I hope that wasn't, I don't know if that was total or not, because someone asked, I love the Ultim buttons on the black mod so much. What do just the Dicodes chip run cost-wise? $130. Wow. That's quite a bit. I can't find where he talks about the box.
That seems way higher than what I've seen other Dicodes.
Yeah, he's using a Veritube 510 V2 flat top. Let's see. Insulators, Teflon plus a pin. It doesn't say. But yeah, that's expensive for that board.
Yeah, but
But yeah.
I don't think they're produced anywhere near the same scale as Evolve boards would be.
Yeah, well, somebody said we talked about that, decided against it because he needed probably bump up the box to be bigger, and it's only an 80-watt mod. 2x 3000 mAh VTC6s will be beyond adequate, and the 40T from Samsung isn't coming out for a while. I'd get the extra 1000 mAh per cell on the 21700s. I have 30Ts, but that's just upping discharge capabilities. I could almost even go dual MJ1s for 3500 mAh. And a 10 amp CDR, and they're in series. Be building, high res, blah blah blah. So beauty of a chip that actually boosts. Novel idea. Evolve should maybe pick up on. Interesting. So this was somebody else talking in that thread. So yeah, kind of cool.
Yeah, good for him. Crazy
that was that high. Yeah, they're very expensive. But yeah, not bad.
LabWorks said it could be over $2. Maybe I haven't seen one.
Possibly. But yeah, there you go. And the last one was I don't know if you saw, but someone made a post about they were accused of building a bomb on a bus. Not
a good workspace.
Yeah. So
hopefully he wasn't brown.
Yeah, basically this happened. He said this happened a few years ago and said he lost his driver's license and he went to go visit an ex-girlfriend, took Greyhound, which was long and boring, whatever. So he thought he'd make a few coils. Anyways, he was on his way home and he knew the ride was going to be super long. So he pulled out the coil box and started making coils. They get about 2 miles down the road, and the bus pulls off the expressway, where they proceeded to sit for what seemed like forever. Continued making my coils. A while later, I see the interstate was at a standstill, and the police has shut down the expressway and surrounded the bus. They made everyone evacuate the bus except for me. Police boarded the bus with machine guns and questioned me about what I am building. Long story short, a woman in the back passed a note to the front of the bus stating that I was making a bomb. Yikers. This story, I thought he was going to be like building a mod. No, he was just making coils.
Holy shit. Ridiculous. Holy shit.
Wow. Everybody's like, you should post that on R that happened. Sandra Bullock, make sure it happens.
Yeah, right.
That's crazy. There you go. I would never even thought about someone seeing it as
you never know.
You making a bomb. Yeah, we were sitting there like, and cutting and doing all kinds of shit. So but yeah.
Coiling is like the most innocuous looking thing that you do. Like,
I know.
I think that's a bomb.
Yeah, especially, really, and you can see the coil sitting there. There's no electronics. Unless
maybe he had his mod sitting out too.
Maybe unless he had one of the Coil Master setups where you could thread the addion and push the button, to get the resistance. Maybe
did he have a flat brim and a jihad beard?
Yeah, maybe. And last but not least was the I don't know if you guys saw, but the taxfoundation.org posted a article about taxation on vapor products, and it's this interesting map here. How high are vapor exercise taxes in your state? Okay, and we'll zoom in to some of these so you can see. Let's see, we got California, 65% of wholesale. You got Alaska with 45%. Yeah, 45% of wholesale at 55% of wholesale AB. It's only applicable in Juneau, and so there's a few notes down here on the bottom. Let's see, Louisiana, 5 cents a mil. Same for Kansas. Illinois is a whole mess.
Yeah, Illinois is always the best of Texas.
Look at Minnesota, 95%. And here's some of the other ones.
There's a reason why our boy has to go get us stuff on the down low.
Yeah. There's a few other ones: PA, West Virginia, North Carolina. And some of the ones that are thinking about doing that. So it's a pretty cool map. I'll drop the link on here, and it's pretty interesting. It goes through and what are the components of the electronic cigarette, and they have them all broken down and what they might. I put the link in chat there, but what they might be, sold together and what classifies as a tax, and so pretty interesting stuff. So
bundles of
there's say what?
Bundles of sticks.
Yeah, and then there is also in that same page you're going to see the other map that's the actual proposed. This one's a little bit older because it was this is 2016 stuff. But there's another map on there that showed proposed excise tax back in 2016. So this map that I showed was as of January 2017. So it's a year old, but it reflects what was at that point. I mean, I know a lot of that stuff has changed, but we all know that it's not going to change for the tax going away. It's just going to be more states adding taxing. So it's a good start off in the taxation of the vapor products. So because I know New Jersey was recently talking about jacking it up to 75% tax on all items. I think Chris Christie tried to pass it a few years ago, and now it's popping back up again. So that's insane. That to me is bananas.
That's donut budget.
So, yeah, especially in Jersey, there's a lot of older folks up there that could really benefit from it, and a lot of keep it going young kids too. But it is what it is. That's it. That's all I got.
Cool.
Came in like a massing ball.
Well, thank you for coming back like a massing ball. Thanks everybody for coming out and joining us. I think we're going to call it a night. We will be back same Plumes time, same Plumes channel next week.
Got a little send-off gift for everybody. So
nice.
Mm-hmm. Stay tuned.
Rikishi on the edge. You can see the end of the world from here. I got it. It's the Undertaker. Where's got the figure 4?